Next up, we have Group F, which is one of the I don't know, it's one of the more difficult groups to pick. Maybe not first, but second from Belgium, Canada, Croatia, and Morocco. Let's go with beaten World Cup finalist Croatia first. A lot of talent in this squad, but a lot of the same talent in this squad several years older. Is this the tournament where Croatia finally kind of revert to the mean, that they kind of correct their overperformance last time with an underperformance this time? The fact that Dejan Lovren's still in the squad would tell me yes, Jack.
You mean best defender in the world, Dejan Lovren?
Yes.
As he claimed a few years ago.
Yeah, look, I don't want to write them off entirely.
They want you to write them off. Yes. That's how Croatia thrive.
Yeah, I don't think they have another run to the final in them. I think there are some very interesting players in this team. Josko Gvardiol, subject of a perhaps almost over the line transfer to Chelsea next season, as has been mooted in the press very often. Current Chelsea man Mateo Kovacic, who we're both massive fans of. Livakovic from Zagreb, who again is one of those you hear he's going to get a move somewhere big anytime soon, but he's 27 and he hasn't yet. So there are a lot of decent players, and of course at the heart of that team you have the just indescribable Luka Modric. The man just is still doing it.
Yeah, again, another person that has made me completely miserable within the last year by just finding disgusting passing angles to drop it on the head of Karim Benzema or Rodrigo. So I look at this and I know he's old, right? I know Kovacic is kind of carrying a knee injury, but the midfield three of Modric, Brozovic and Kovacic is probably the best midfield three in the tournament, right? It's definitely an argument to be had that it is.
For sure.
And I don't know how Perisic keeps doing it at the age of 33, but he is still an insane athlete up and down that wing, and he makes a big difference when he's in a good bit of form for Spurs. Yeah. To me, I'd worry about goals. I think Kramaric, maybe if he's starting, or Livaja, if he starts... like a young, I say younger forward, he's like in his late 20s now, from Hajduk Split. I don't know kind of who they're going to position in to be the start in number 9, but I know that the option is kind of there to go for something a little bit different, or alternatively just play insane paceman Mislav Orsic through the middle, who also recently crammed in a goal against Chelsea. Why is everyone in this World Cup playing really well against Chelsea?
A World Cup of people that have hurt your feelings.
It really is the World Cup of making me miserable. So that there are options there, but to me, I think that's where they would kind of struggle. Defense is solid, obviously. Gvardiol as the linchpin in there, and again, it's to me the best thing about this Croatia team in terms of keeping other teams out of the game and attacking them is their just ability to monopolize possession, and I think that will come into good stead for them, and I think it will probably get them a place at least in the quarterfinals, I would say. I don't know if they can go beyond that, like you said earlier, but there's enough in here, and there's a sort of almost like an undercurrent sizzling always that Croatia just really want you to tell them that they're not going to do anything, so they can just pin it up on a dressing room wall and use it as fuel. I just feel like every time you ever hear a Croatian player speak, they're always referencing someone that said they were shit at some point, and they use that shit to get them through. Also, would quite like to see some game time for Mario Pasalic, who is one of my favourite Atalanta players in that Gasparini system. So yeah.
Let's move on to Morocco, who I think are a very solid outfit. I think a lot of listeners would be familiar with Hakim Ziyech of your parish, Jack. And a
familiar with him. I want to get fucking rid of him as soon as possible.
A couple of other players in this team that you would know of. My favorite thing about Morocco is they suffer from a thing international teams suffer from sometimes. I think of Scotland in particular with their left back situation, where you get two generational good players pop up at the same time in the exact same position, and that's the kind of situation they're left with Mazraoui and Ashraf Hakimi. Now I know Hakimi can kind of go left or right back, but yeah, you would think, I would certainly think of the two of them at right back anyway. But absolute marauding, swashbuckling, you would love to have them in your team fullbacks there.
Yeah, I mean, it's feast or famine at fullback for a lot of teams in this tournament.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that would pay a pretty penny to have one of Mazraoui or Hakimi in their team, like, such as their insane forward motion that they can do. But yeah, I think you see Hakimi out at right back and then Mazraoui at left, just bombing on down the wings, and then hopefully Saiss, formerly of the Premier League, can keep things together. And also, interesting story with Aguerd, Naif Aguerd. Like, he signed for West Ham in the summer. He was a big, big money spend for them. I think it was like 30 odd million quid that they bought after some really good performances for Rennes. And then he just absolutely blew out his knee in the pre-season. I think it was his knee or his ankle, one of the two. And he's only in the last sort of few weeks managed to finally make his first appearances for West Ham. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of fitness state he's in, if he can line up in defence for him. Someone
I'd like to see that I had heard a lot about, he's out on loan at Osasuna at the moment, is Etzal Zuli, who is a guy who came through at Barcelona and is, like I said, now out on loan. He's someone I've heard talked up a fair bit, and when Barca aren't selling him, they want to keep the hooks in and bring him back from loan if he performs well, that there is some talent they see as well. So I'd like to see him get some time. He's only played a couple of times for Morocco, but you might as well throw everything at the wall in a tough group and see what sticks. But Morocco seem just like the kind of side that might be an unexpected pain in the arse.
Yeah, I think so. One last mention, I guess, goes to En-Nesyri, who a couple of years ago for Sevilla looked like he was going to kind of go from level to level. Like, he had a season where he banged in like 20 odd goals for them, and you were like, okay, this guy could be like a real breakout star for Morocco. And then it's kind of faltered a little bit since, but decent option, I think, at centre forward. And you already mentioned Ziyech, but the only reason Ziyech is in the squad, he fell out with the previous coach of Morocco so bad that he said he's never going to play for Morocco again. And then Walid Regragui took over, and he's like, you know what, I'll bring Ziyech back in, and Ziyech all of a sudden is amenable again. And if Ziyech plays well in this tournament, I'm going to be even more mad at him, because he has been fucking phoning it in for the last year at Chelsea and could not look less arsed if he tried.
Let's move to Canada next, and I don't think there are very many one-man teams in this tournament, but two-man teams, Canada is going to be right up there, because you've got Alphonso Davies of Bayern Munich, you've got Jonathan David of Lille as the eye-catching names in this team, and then, with all due respect to their teammates, it's mostly just a bunch of lads after that.
Yeah, I was very, very happy to see Junior Hoilett in this team.
Yes.
QPR and Reading legend Junior Hoilett, still going strong. And one of those guys I assumed was like 45, but is only 32 years old. I find it very difficult to provide, again, another stable analysis of Canada, because I haven't really watched a lot of them play. A lot of their players do play for the MLS teams that are based in Canada. There are a few guys out in Europe, obviously, the notable exceptions that we've already mentioned, but there's a bit of the unknown about this team. Like, they have a player in their ranks who plays for St Johnstone as well, called David Wotherspoon, which makes me very happy. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect, but they did win the CONCACAF qualifying group.
It remains to be seen how much of a reflection on them or CONCACAF that is.
Look, yeah, You can't really argue with that. But the coach that did it, John Herdman, had a great success as the manager of the Canadian women's team for many years. I oversaw like a real period of sustained success for them. You know, like I think they got a bronze in the Olympics, and you know, with bronze like in 2 Olympics in a row rather, and you know, like had a pretty good run in the last World Cup as well. And he's kind of been, you know, shifted over to see if he can work his magic with the men's team, and you know, immediate success. Canada haven't been in a World Cup since 1986, and that went drastically badly for them. So I think there's a real interest. You know, it's like we talked about the teams that have all their players based in one country, and it's very difficult to make an analysis of them. Even though we know some of these guys, I'm just really intrigued to watch Canada. I couldn't tell you anything really about their style. I know they normally line up in a sort of like a 3-4-3 or a 4-3-3, but yeah, complete going to be complete new news to me to see what we get from them.
I guess one of the interesting things about this tournament is there is that handful of teams that, like, even you and I, who are particularly inside baseball with all this shit, like, they're going to be real unknown quantities to us. So I like that. Yeah. Next up,
and we admit that rather than like, there's probably a handful of journalists right now who are like scrabbling down as much information as they possibly can on some of these teams to look like they know them inside and out.
Next up, we've got Belgium, who, I mean, Jack, you could really just cut and paste maybe the last 2 or 3 times we've done tournament previews and like put in what we think about Belgium. You know, hat full of talent, fairly fucking dodgy at the back, probably going to be exposed against the first top contender, and it's mostly the same team but slightly older. There are a couple of players in here I'm excited to see. I think in particular of Charles de Ketelaere, who landed at Milan this season, is a very talented young player. Jeremy Doku, who I think has been on the fringes of the Belgian team, he plays for Rennes. But other than that, it's a lot of the same cast of characters, including your friend and mine, Romelu Lukaku, utterly off the boil as a concept. Yuri Tielemans, who I love him when he's at his best, but can sometimes be very lackadaisical. And captained once again by Eden Hazard, who I am told by reliable sources plays for Real Madrid.
Can we just not with Hazard, please? It's really sad to see what's happened to his career. They've got great buffets in Spain. What can I say? Up until 4 years ago, genuinely one of the best players in the world on his day. And it's just gone. You know, I was a big fan of his, and I like to poke the bear sometimes. Encourage the Hazard was always shite narrative just to drive you insane. Just isn't true, is it? Shout out to Zig. I'll debate it with him one day. Yeah, but it is, like you said, copy and paste the narratives. It's copy and paste the squad pretty much. There's a few new names in here. Wout Faes has had a very good last couple of months at Leicester. Leandro Trossard has just been ripping the Premier League to pieces for Brighton, and I can't really see him lasting too much longer on the South Coast before Chelsea inevitably come in and sign him. Like, we've taken like half their recruitment and a bunch of their players already. But yeah, the same faces that you kind of always expect to see. Driesma and Kevin De Bruyne is still the best midfielder in the world on his day, by the way. That just hasn't changed. Can I just say how much fun I'm going to have with the potential return of centre halves Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen? That is glacial. It's very much a one last riot, brother. Kind of. All we're missing is like a Thomas Vermaelen to complete Three Musketeers here. I would be so happy if Thomas Vermaelen was in this team. We do have Simon Mignolet in the team, so there's like if old Thibaut goes down injured, we're in trouble. Don't know if you saw Club Brugge in the Champions League group stages, but Simon Mignolet was fucking playing out of his skin. Yeah, of course he will, until it matters. Yeah. But yeah, Thibaut Courtois is top 3 goalkeepers in the world, like easy, no question about it. So we got the king of banter, Michy Batshuayi, is in there as well. I don't know how the fuck he gets anywhere near this squad.
Absolute competition winner.
But the thing is, he scored loads of goals for Belgium. He just doesn't ever, like, it's been years since
he's not even the best Belgian forward in the Turkish league now that Dries Martin is there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument that you can make. Look, it is Belgium. You know, they have great players. There's, you know, a wealth of quality that runs through the vein of the team. Are they 4 years older than they were last time when they finished third? Yes. Does that mean they probably only get to quarterfinals, semi-finals at best again this time as well? Probably.
Are you stunned if they get upset and crash out in the groups?
Yeah,
these seem like if you're gonna put money on who's the shock gets eliminated in the group stages, they're one of the ones I'm circling and thinking
England.
about. Yeah, no, sorry, not my hopes list,
my dreams list.
Yeah.
No, I would be shocked because I mean, come on, you've got De Bruyne and Tielemans in midfield, like no fucking chance. You know, the younger and more fit Hazard brother, who he's still absolutely tearing up trees at Dortmund every week, and you know, they find a way. They're going to find a way to get the best out of this team, to get through this group stage. Like there's honestly, Dave, Kevin De Bruyne alone should get you through a group stage as one person on the pitch against 11 men. Let's
rank them. You pick between the two obvious candidates for top spot.
I'm gonna go Croatia, Belgium.
Okay.
Morocco, Canada.
Morocco, Canada. Yeah, okay, I'll go with that.